Yes, I am. Yeah, that's right. Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Dr. Taylor, would you lead us in the pledge? I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented. So moved. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That will take us to recognitions. We have Drew Melching for the National Merit Semifinalist.
Yes, thank you. Tonight, I'd like to invite up Dr. Drew Smith, our Grand Valley High School principal, to present tonight's recognition.
All right. Today, we are proud to recognize an outstanding student, Drew Melching, for his remarkable achievement of being named a National Merit Scholar semifinalist. This prestigious honor is a testament to Drew's academic excellence, hard work, and dedication to his studies. The National Merit Scholarship Program is a highly competitive academic recognition program that identifies and honors the top-performing high school students in the United States. Each year, only the top 3% of high school students who take the PSAT exam qualify to be a National Merit Scholar, making it an exceptional accomplishment. Drew has consistently demonstrated his academic prowess throughout his high school career. He has challenged himself with the most rigorous course load available, including numerous advanced placement courses and honors courses. Drew's intellectual curiosity and thirst for knowledge has driven him to excel in all of his academic pursuits. He also recently scored a 36, a perfect score, on his ACT. Yeah. Drew's recognition as a National Merit semifinalist is a testament to his unwavering dedication, exceptional intellect, and tireless work ethic. He has set a shining example for his peers, and we are confident that this is just the beginning of his remarkable academic and personal journey. Congratulations, Drew, on this well-deserved achievement. We are proud to have you as a member of our school community and look forward to seeing the great things that you accomplish.
Congratulations, that's a big deal. If any of you that were here for that recognition would like to leave at this time or adjourn, you are more than welcome to. That will take us to patron comments. Any school district patron may present information to the board at this time. Presentations will be limited to no more than 5 minutes. The board will not take action on any issue not included on the published agenda. However, all comments will be taken into consideration by the Board of Education. Patrons are requested not to discuss individual faculty, staff, or students. Patrons are reminded that this is a public forum and comments relative to individuals could result in litigation. However, any patron may request to meet with the board in executive session. No response will be given by the board at this time. We do have one person signed up, Jan Brill.
Thank you. On October 4th, people coming from the football game here on our school property found, put in their door, this document, which urges no on 3. It was my understanding that this is against school policy, and if it is not so, please feel free to correct me. If it is against school policy, I would be interested in what consequences there will be to this group, and if any opportunities will be made available to educate people concerning political and religious material on a public school property. I thank you for listening to me, but I really want to direct my comment to the people who are watching. There is almost nothing on this document which is correct. I urge you to read Amendment 3 word for word before you decide how to vote in November. Thank you very much.
All right, that will take us to reports. We will start with the Library and Media Resources Program Evaluation.
Good evening. I'm Lee Rothmeyer. I'm the librarian at the high school, and I'm going to give the report this evening. And before I get started, I'd like to introduce the rest of the library department. And over here we have Elisa Friedrich, who is over at Snyder Elementary, Karen Collins, who's at South Middle School, Sonia Jakes, who's at North Middle School, Amanda Nickel at Stony Point, Lauren Benica, who's at Prairie Branch, and last is Christy Clemens over at Matthews Elementary. Thank you for standing with me. So the first thing I'd like to do is, I created the program document that you have, and for the first part of it, instead of going through those individually, I thought what I would do is, for the past 2 years' accomplishments, kind of group them as the Missouri school library standards are organized. And so the first big idea that we have in our standards is reading engagement. And some of the things that we've done here in the district over the last couple of years as far as reading engagement goes is we've had author, illustrator visits. Every building participates in the Missouri Reading Awards and List programs. And that is, at each level, there's a fiction reading award that the students get to read the books and vote for. But we also have lists for nonfiction called the Dogwood reading list. And then we have the new this year Denny O'Neil graphic novel list. And so we all promote those. At the elementary schools, for students who participate and read the books required, they get to go to UCM, to the Children's Literature Festival. And that's a very fun field trip, and the kids always look forward to doing that with the librarians. Some other things that we've got going is North Middle School has ordered some board books and lifted flat books that they use with the adaptive learning groups in their school. At South Middle School, they have, excuse me, I think I said that backwards, because the guest reader program is at North Middle School for their life skills groups. And then South Middle School is doing the Bookshare program for the students who have IEPs and 504s. And then something else that's going on is Stony Point, they did Read Across America, where they had lots of spirit days and book giveaways. So as far as reading engagement, that's very important, and we try to find many different ways to participate. I know at the high school with the Gateway program, I was so excited this year because we had 25 students who qualified to vote, which is just huge because across the state, we're having trouble getting high school students to read those books completely and vote. So I was very excited to see the numbers going up, and I know we reported numbers going up in many of our buildings too. Another area that we would like to report on is information literacy, and that's teaching reading skills in different formats. And this is one that is fun because we're doing that constantly all year, and that's teaching the kids different ways to read with print and digital formats. So with print, I know it's been a real focus for myself to get large print books in different languages, especially Spanish at the high school. Getting guides for students who have dyslexia, because I've had students tell me that They have trouble still in the high school with strategies, and so we come up with things to help them read. And let's see here, I know digital, we're talking ebooks and audiobooks. That is something that not only do we provide in our own buildings, but we have partnership with the public library and with MoreNet, because that's who the district has our subscription for internet service with. And so they provide us a lot of ebooks, audiobooks, and databases. And so with that, it's a lot of teaching kids how to use different fonts, different sizes of text, the accessibility features of how to, have dark backgrounds, light backgrounds, depending on what they need, having the ability to be able to listen to the books that are ebooks or to download the audiobooks and teaching them, how we listen to an audiobook, because it's completely different than reading a book in print. So there's just a lot of those steps that we go through on a daily basis. Other things that fall into the information literacy is research skills. We start at the youngest ages using World Book, and that's a service that we get through the public library. We access databases through Mid-Continent Public Library and also through MoreNet. And let's see, another thing that we work hard on at every age, even at the high school, we're still working on it, is analyzing and evaluating websites to make sure that they are verified and that they have the information that our students need. The next area that we like to report on is media literacy. This is where we're teaching students how to balance and use and manage their digital footprints and how they can protect their own privacy and their data and how they can contribute positively online. And so we see that by working with our students in the elementary schools using Seesaw, because there are a lot of different ways that they are able to communicate, do their work, and then have parent communication back so that they get to see how to comment, how to read comments. We see that with Google Classroom, actually at middle school and high school, and then the other learning platforms I know that we're using at the high school. And then we even get to see it in things like Destiny, because students are able to leave book reviews. And so just learning how to make good comments. We teach at the high school constantly how to make good emails to send to teachers and to students and replying. So that's in our media literacy. And then innovation, this is problem solving and doing action-oriented solutions to problems. And some of the things that stand out is at Prairie Branch and Stony Point, the librarians put together a grant and won it so that they can do podcasting with the students. And they're having them read narratives through the podcasting. I know 5th grade at Prairie Branch is doing some programming and doing some things online as far as the news for the building. And then I know that we're also using robots throughout all the programs, really, and doing makerspace programs that are in the building with the classes. And then also at the high school, I've been partnering with the Mid-Continent Public Library, and the youth director over there has been coming in and working with the kids once a month after school. And so that's always a fun activity that they enjoy doing. Now, some things that we did together as a department, which I'm really proud of, is that throughout the year we evaluate and we manage our collections, which is very important, and we use the district selection and weeding policies to do that. This past year we created a procedures manual, which was nice to get all of those procedures down in a document that we could share with one another and use with our substitutes who are coming in and any volunteers that we might have. We were able to get Swank Digital Streaming K-12 for all of our buildings, which was a really big thing, I think, for our district to be able to do, because before we had it just in a couple buildings, and this year, with the help of Dr. Gump, we were able to get all of the schools doing that, which means that we are all subscribing to the service where we have a site license where we can show movies in our building for educational uses, and even for rewards. It can be used before and after school, like with our Valley Kids programs. And then the service itself is where we can stream over, I think it's 30,000 to 40,000 movies that they have available for us. And so it's a great service, and it just reinforces copyright compliance. in our district with our teachers. And so we're very happy with that. And another thing that we did this year is, this is with Dr. Allen and Dr. Gum, but we started Valley Learning Pathways. And with the librarians, we have our own track, and I'm excited about that because the two things that we chose to work on this year are getting deeper into using Destiny in ways that enhances our buildings, because it has its own homepage, and we're figuring out ways that we can use that to get students to want to come to it, and not just for books, but also to put collections together where kids can also go to websites or databases where we have information that is along that same topic. So that's one of the things we're learning. And then the other is the Missouri School Library Standards, which just recently came out. And we are going to dive deep into that and not only learn about them, but also how we can use them to make better lessons for our students in our program. Okay, for the next 2 years, we would like to continue having our author and illustrator visits, continue taking our 4th and 5th graders to the Children's Literature Festival at UCM. We would like to continue building and managing our collections. And when I say collections in our buildings, it is for the students, but then we also have professional collections, and we have audiovisual collections, and like a variety of things that we provide, just library services for students. Let's see, we still plan on doing the professional learning. We're in the Valley Learning Pathways, but we also, and in a moment I'll tell you some of the other things we do along that. I think one of the things that has been meaningful for me is the relationship we have with our Green Valley branch of the McConnell Public Library. They are wonderful to work with, and they have worked with our technology department to make sure that every student, pre-K through seniors and all staff, have an access pass, which is a digital way that they can access their resources. And they're wonderful, and they have like teaching resources available as well, where teachers can just contact them and go, and they will collect all the resources that they need so that the teachers can just go grab it and bring it back to their building. So they're wonderful. They just came to my building yesterday to sign a contract for our Makerspace program, and they want to work with us. They really want to know how they can enhance not only what we're doing in our buildings, but also what they can be doing at their branch, because they say they see a lot of students coming in, especially young ones, for the read alouds and for activities, but they're very happy at the number of students who are coming in and studying. They said that they're using their study carrels, the new little rooms that they have set aside for it. Kids are reserving those and going in and studying for their projects and tests that they have going on. So I find that really exciting, and they really want to work with us to continue that. Another area is that our collaboration with our teachers, not just in our buildings, because that is very important, but also across the district. Christy Clemens had a program in her school this year where she worked with the FACS teacher over at South Middle, and the students there sewed library monsters that she could use with one of the lessons that she was teaching. And so I just thought that was really exciting that we have it going district-wide too, with our teachers. Let's see. We still want to continue work on our procedures manual, because we know that that is just an ongoing thing that is just going to continue to change with our department. And within the program that we use, it's called Destiny, to check the books in and out and to keep our resources. Every resource has a marked record, which is the information, the digital information that goes with it. And we just need to spend some time to go in and clean that up, get rid of duplicates and whatnot. So that's something we want to work on. We started a library department home document, and we're excited about that, just a place we can curate all those common places that we go to and the information that we need. So we're still working on that. And the last one I have down is that we want to continue to educate our teachers and students how to access our resources, because we're always adding new resources, and many of them are digital, and it's important that they know where to go to access it, and then how to access it, and that it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we're all have websites, and we're all trying to always improve on that and make sure that we teach our students and teachers how to access it. So the next area that I was going to talk about was professional learning, and our department works so well together, and we we definitely help one another, but we go out for a lot of our learning too. We attend events at the state level. It's the Missouri Association of School Librarians, and they have summer and fall PD days, and then they also have a spring conference, and we try to get to as many of those as possible. We have Greater Kansas City Association of School Librarians, and we all have been going to those meetings as well, and it's fun to travel across the city and be able to see other libraries and how they're used, and to make that network of learning other learning and meeting other librarians. And so that's been very fun. Let's see here. We listen to webinars, library and educational podcasts. We do book studies. Like right now, one of them that's going district-wide is using AI in education, and that's one of the things that we know that we're going to start, well, we do use in library, and just making sure that our students are using it ethically. And then taking college courses. A lot of us are still doing that. Leadership roles that we have, many of us are working in the buildings, on the building leadership teams, working with positive behavior teams, the SEL groups, for the social emotional learning groups that we have, and our libraries are facilitating that. We have librarians in Bright Futures. One is a dog handler, that's me. Harold, if you've ever met him, he's at the library, and he is probably one of the most popular, I don't want to say people, but he is very popular at the high school, and he is working from when we get there in the morning until we leave. I mean, we even have students from the middle school whose parents work at the high school who come in every morning and give him a hug and say, "Have the best day, Harold." And he just looks at them and smiles, and they love it, and he loves it, and it starts their day. And he's there when they get off the bus in the afternoon too. Let's see. And we present. We're presenters for professional development within our own buildings. And so that's another thing we do. District-wide, we get together and have our meetings, and I enjoy being able to get things together as the lead librarian. Greater Kansas City, we have a librarian who's a district rep who's always reporting information back. And then I was past president and really ran through all the different leadership positions that were in that group. At the state level, I'm on the executive board, co-chair the DEI committee, and I present at the fall and spring conferences. And then I'm part of the Missouri Library Leaders group. And I love that group because it's people all across the state who share ideas and just trying to make our libraries better for our students. And so I do love that group. Goals that we have for the next 3 to 5 years is, one is in our elementary libraries, we would like to have some shared aids. That would just tremendously benefit our elementary librarians. It is a completely different way to run a library in elementary versus in our secondaries, and they are just running nonstop from when they get there till they leave. And it would be so helpful for them to have someone who they could depend on, who could consistently come in and be able to do some of those tasks like shelving books or putting labels on books and such things that would free up time for our librarians to do the things that they can do and want to do, and that's doing the podcasting and doing the robots and designing the lessons, because they spend so much time doing some of this other work, secretarial type work, that it would be nice for them to have that time to spend designing the lessons and preparing for those. Another thing that we would like is to continue to update our library collections. That's important that they be current. We want to redesign our elementary and middle school libraries, because I know working at the high school and having shelves that are on wheels and having tables and chairs that are on wheels, being able to move them out of the way because a class is coming in to do a Socrates seminar, or because we're going to do the STEM fair in the library or the art fair in the library, or all kinds of things. I am always moving furniture and making room for what's going on, group presentations in the library. And the same thing can happen at the elementary middle schools if we had better furniture, because we're still using the old furniture that is just stationary and the big hard tables. And so that is something that we would love for you to consider for our libraries, because I think it would definitely bring them up and make them be the heart of the building that they truly are. Another thing that we would like is the Missouri Association of School Librarians that put together the program standard, or excuse me, the instructional standards, is also putting together program standards. And those are going to be coming out within this next year. And we're very excited to get those and get into them and see how we can make our libraries as good as or better than all the other libraries in our state. And then the last thing is just that we ask for the continued financial support for all of these things to let us continue to do the work that we're doing. So that is the presentation. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Very good, thank you. Do any of the board members have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I do. Just a quick one.
Okay.
Is there an estimated budget of what it would take to kind of bring the libraries up to where you would want them? I mean, as far as furniture, redesign, all that, is that something that,
You know, we have not put together the budget, but it would be very easy for us to do. And we could
Okay.
definitely put that together to share.
all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? So I have a couple questions. So I noticed on one of the facilities, I think it was Matthews, had noted, and I think most of the elementary schools, if not all of them, and I'm not sure about the middle schools, do the book fairs. And that's all 100% done by your department? You all staff it, get it all put together, and the whole thing? And
Yes.
is
Yes.
that a fundraising mechanism for your department, or is that for each school? How does that work?
It is for each school's library,
It's for
Yeah,
the library
for that
itself?
library within that school, yes.
Okay, and then
And then
that,
the librarians will get it set up, and they do, recruit as many volunteers as they can. And this year, one of the things that, well, last year and this year, I've been working with the teacher who is, well, one of the co-teachers over the National Honor Society, and we have worked with them, and then also the teacher who is with the students looking for community service, and trying to let students know that we've got these book fairs going on, especially the evening events, if that was something that they could come up and help as well.
okay. And is that a big part of your budget for what you do throughout the year?
I can speak to some if you guys want to speak to that too, but it does go towards books, it does go towards like makerspace items, it goes towards sometimes furniture type items, displays that you can use in the library. Would anybody like to add?
Author visits, the field trips, most of my robots were bought from the Scholastic Book Fair. You have the option of either taking Scholastic dollars, which kind of doubles your money, or taking it in cash. And so one of my fairs, I usually always do Scholastic dollars and then buy things off of their catalog. So there is like pieces of furniture. The problem with that is it's not stable furniture. It only lasts a year or two maybe. But they used to sell a lot of robots. They don't provide that as much anymore. So it's just kind of whatever they have available. And then my second one, I usually take in cash to like reload my funding for any of those fun like field trips and those things.
Okay. So as far as the robots, what do you use the robots for?
So in kindergarten, just the other day, in kindergarten at Prairie Branch, we were retelling a story. So I read them a book, and then they had to drive their robots to the correct pieces to retell the story. What they didn't realize they were doing, they were also coding them. So we were retelling, but we were coding. They were working with partners. It was like a memory for them. We built an experience with that book. We also will parade our robots by doing Balloons Over Broadway as a biography that I read around Thanksgiving time, and then they make their floats and we parade them through for other classrooms to see. So again, it's just bringing in that community to the building. For the iPads, I've bought iPads with our Scholastic money, and that's what we record the Mustang News on, along with like the microphones and the supplies for those sort of things.
The last question I had was about the access passes with the public library.
Yes.
How is it disseminated throughout the district that that's available, that the students can use that or have that access?
So it's originally at the registration time when parents register their students, and then they have the opportunity to check, yes, that they would like it, or if they leave it empty, that means that no, that they're not interested. And so we find that whenever we're teaching it, and then for those students whose parents choose not to do it, then we just have work that they can do with a book versus doing it online.
Very good. Anyone else? All right. Thank you
Okay,
for
Thank you.
for the report. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. That will take us to the superintendent's report.
In our highlights this month, you see the year-to-date revenues and expenditures, and you also see how that is trending over the last 3 years. So we're in line with where we've been the previous 2 years up until this year. In the health premium overages, we have made our first overage payment that's recorded. This report is as of the end of September. We had made a $200,000 overage payment against our budgeted $800,000. Now in October, we've also made another $300,000 overage payment, so that'll be reflected in the next report. So we're 500 of the 800,000 in on our overage payments for the year. And then our student attendance goals, there's one thing that's different about this measure. The 2025 is year to date. The 2024 is the year ending. So that's the year end total for last year. So just as we go along the way, we kind of measure up against how we closed out the previous year. A couple other highlights that I want to bring to your attention. We are actively promoting all of our stakeholders to participate in our climate and culture surveys. So that's for our families, our staff, and our students. So that is all underway. We measure such things as perceptions of school safety, the school as a caring environment, and to what extent we're meeting the academic needs of the children. This year's family survey, we've also added in questions asking for feedback about the rollout of Parent Square. So we're asking them to give us some specific feedback so that we can adapt pretty quickly in our implementation of that rollout, just as we did with the staff a few weeks ago. And then also wanted to give the board a heads up that as the board has been reviewing policies this year that are more than 10 years since they've been updated, we have also initiated a procedural review of all procedures. So while the board is looking at the policies in Section E, support services, our administrative team is looking at all of the procedures associated with Section E, support services. So what we've come to realize, and it's not so much on our department directors, but on the building level administrators, because we have so many new principals and then likewise so many new assistant principals, we're kind of taking this opportunity to kind of take a full look at all of our procedures just to make sure that the whole team is on the same page about the expectations and obviously how these procedures tie to board policy. So we are taking that opportunity. In the calendar highlights down below, one additional that's listed there for November 12th I want to bring to the board's attention is we have our annual Bright Futures Luncheon on November 12th. That'll be at the community center, and it is 11:30 to 12:30 on that day. And so if you're able to steal away for an hour, we would love to have you that day. Also included, you have the reports from academics and support services. You also have a financial summary that we wanted to include this month, given the fact that we are coming forward with a budget amendment. And then also included in reports this month are the minutes from the District Finance Committee that met last week. So you have the draft of the minutes from that meeting as well. But we would open it up for any questions in reports.
I have a question. On the Flight Beginning Teacher Assistance Program, it said that you had your first summit full day of PD on Wednesday, October 8th. How many more days does that take place? Because it looks like it's an ongoing effort. Do you know how many more days that will be? Uh-huh. Mhm. Yeah. Gotcha. And yeah, how often are the after-school meetings? Are there? Gotcha. And there's no compensation for that, correct? Like, yeah. Contract, yeah. Yeah, that's just. Uh-huh. I just, our poor new teachers, they just have to do a lot. And so I know the time is valuable. Like, obviously, we're not filling their time with things that isn't valuable to them, but it's just curious on them. My other question is in one of the elementary reports, I think it might have been Matthews, but I would assume that it probably happened at all of them, was that there were meetings for the two things, I think, sorry, it was MTSS and, let me find my thing. Oh, I'm going in the wrong order. Give me just a second. So with the, ultimately, it doesn't, I guess, staff meetings with Dr. Reich and Dr. Schank to review tier 2 academic and MTSS processes. With staff meetings, I know that as things come up, like obviously we need to disseminate that, but is that stuff that happens that couldn't fit into PD days or staff meetings? Is that a normal requirement? Are they something that pops up? Is that something? Because I think their Parent Square, I think, was one of them too at one point in time, and just wondering like the additional meetings that possibly elementary is experiencing since that was, I just didn't know, just asking further. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Thanks. For faculty meetings, before, after, that is really to the building principal, and it does look a little bit different in each building. We do share out as an admin team what that looks like in every building so that everybody knows how many times they meet, and sort of to try not to have this building that meets 12 times as much as this
Right.
building, you know, to kind of unify that. But what I will find is that the principal, in conjunction with their leadership team and their teachers, kind of find what works for their building and their staff, because every staff's a little different. You know, some have a heavy number of coaches, so a certain time of day, they would miss a huge portion of their, so it is very individualized. And we at district office pre-schedule it and do whatever they suggest,
What meets
basically.
their needs.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Just, that's
No,
curious
it's a
on
great question. Yeah, we do try to be
additional
very-
meetings, and especially in October, and like this is a hard time of year, and so I'm just asking,
Yes.
probably, you know.
Yes,
just
we
wondering.
do make ourselves available. So we have Valley Learning Pathways in the morning and then building time in the afternoon. So we do always offer up those afternoon slots if that should happen to work for a building. It kind of depends, but we try to be very cognizant of time. We always call it the teacher's most precious resource.
Yeah.
So we are constantly having conversations about that, I would say, but it's a tough balance.
Thanks.
All right. Anyone else have?
Yeah, had a couple here. So on your project update on the parking lights at Matthews, says we expect power soon. Do we have like an update on power soon?
Yes. Well, no. I do have an update, but how soon? That's a good question. We did put in a work order with Evergy on September 1st. Our crew has done everything they can to do that. What Evergy tells us is that we are on the work order list. They, a couple of weeks ago, sent a good share of their crew to deal with the first big hurricane that hit, and then when they came back, the other half of the crew went out to Florida. I don't know if they're back yet or not, but we are trying to move that up. We are trying to reinforce with Evergy that this isn't just additional lighting. This is a comprehensive lighting project that we're doing. It is getting dark sooner. We have evening activities, so we are doing what we can to try to highlight the significance of this project.
I also wanted to give some props. There was a bus delay over at Matthews, like 2 days in the early part of October. It was cool to get the updates. I know there was a lot of construction stuff, so I wanted to give props on getting that information to the families, because that was a big deal.
Thank you.
And I just wanted the board to know that that all went well. And then my last one would be under nutrition service. We have a balance deficit at 51, which is up I think it's 4,000, a little over 4,000. Just didn't know how the program was going that we had kind of put forth.
Yeah, I know the last recoupment that we reported on was something to the tune of 14,000 that had been recouped for back to school registration. But yes, we'll make sure that at least every couple of months we're being explicit about what, not just, we know the debt is going to go up, but we also want to see some recoupment numbers to see, that things are moving along effectively. So, like homecoming dance, for example, how effective was the prospect of homecoming tickets on incentives to recoup that? So yes, we want to circle back with you on those, keep you updated.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I do have one question about the healthcare premiums. So we have a projected overage, or a budgeted overage of 800,000. We're currently at 5. We're not that far into the year. I guess the year starts July 1st, is that right?
Correct.
So the 800 is really just a projection, but I'm curious what the trend is in years past. In other words, what is our highest month? Are we gonna blow past 800,000? Is what I'm really driving at.
Yeah, it certainly is a possibility. We've trended the year-over-year totals. So we have the 3 bars there. We haven't trended it though time of year, so that would be a curious look. We know that last year was the 1.9 million in overage, and if we hit that again, that in my mind that's going to trigger some other things moving forward about how we're going to insulate ourselves from those kinds of overages. So from a budget standpoint, we budgeted the 800,000. What is a more reasonable trend? So we look back the last couple of years and we felt like 800,000 is a more reasonable trend. We're hoping the 1.9 is a spike. If 1.9 becomes the new trend, then yes, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do something different. And we do have on our list to bring a representative to come speak directly to the board here in the next couple of months to just kind of give orientation to our system, how it works, just to kind of give some background knowledge to all of us in the event that as we start budget prep for the following year, if we need to be looking at other options or other ways to protect ourselves from being fully self-insured, that we're considering all options moving forward.
All right. Anyone else have questions on the report? I had just noticed in the communications part about the parent square that, being that this was something we've been talking about, that some office hours were opened up for staff to come ask specific questions. Do we know if that was utilized, if people took that opportunity?
Dr. Allen?
I can defer to Hannah, but yes, we had a few that did and several that didn't. Obviously Hannah's in every building, and then Audrey Harrison, our instructional technology specialist that's helped with rollout, is also in every building. And they're down to very few buildings that are reaching out with any concerns or issues. Do you want to share which buildings you met with on the PD day?
Yeah, sure. So on our professional development day on October 8th, I presented at Snyabar Elementary, kind of some reminders about Parent Square and just kind of feeling out how the staff was feeling. I was able to make it into every elementary building and the high school for that presentation. And then Audrey Harrison was able to attend the middle schools and kind of get some feedback from teachers at the middle school level about how Parent Square is going and also some of the additional features that are available to them. And then I was also available at Stony Point Elementary for an hour for office hours if teachers needed help. And none that I saw came and talked to me, but I'm taking that as a good sign that maybe things are going well and they're feeling more comfortable using the platform.
All right, very good.
No, Dr. Gooch isn't here tonight. I don't know if I should direct the question to Mr. Hooper. Do we have the total annual burden for our health care? What we're paying out of pocket roughly? Sorry to put you on the spot.
You can get, as you go through, if you give me a few, then I can.
Yeah, that's, and I can follow up with you
tell
after the
that.
meeting too.
Yeah, I think I can.
Dr. Willie, whenever you mentioned possibly looking at other options if we had to, just trying to see what some of those options would cost the district along with the quality of care that we could get. So I can follow up with you after. Thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Hooper, just pipe in. We're going to hear from you again a couple more times today, so we can circle back with.
I do know that Nick isn't here. Him and I talked a little bit, and I think he had said that because I had asked the same question about did we need to amend the budget for the healthcare premium, the overages a little bit, and he said that per the last month, we actually had a fairly good month. Again, it month by month basis, unfortunately, but it seemed like it was a little better than it had been in the past. So hopefully, again, we might level off for a while and we won't have to make any payments. I know in the past, most of the times when we would have to make payments were kind of around the December and January timeframe. So this was a little earlier for this much, but hopefully, like I said, it's going to be leveling out.
All right. Any other questions on the superintendent's report or the financial summary? All right. And the minutes from the finance committee meeting were also in that packet. If anybody had any questions on that? No? All right, very good. That will take us to new business, the budget amendment coming forward tonight.
Yeah, this is the time of year that we kind of shore up our budget for the school year. Now we know what our assessed valuations are going to be since the budget was set at the end of June. We also know we've done some first couple of full rounds of payroll, so we know where our teachers have landed and our support staff have landed. Our teachers have the opportunity to submit their college hours for advanced degrees later in the summer, and so we do budget and try to anticipate what they're going to submit. This year, we had over 100 teachers submit additional hours in order to move over on the salary schedule, so it did exceed what we had preliminarily put in our budget. So on your budget amendment, which at the bottom on the expenditures, you'll see the section for increase of $263,000 due to various salary changes. So a good chunk of that is all the teachers going over on a column. And our theory is with all the attention on the levy ballot measure last spring, it probably got everybody more focused on exactly where they were on the salary schedule and looking at how many hours, how close they were to moving themselves over another column. And so over 100 of them did that. And most of the rest of the 263,000 overage there is we added those positions right before the start of the school year. So between those two categories, that takes up a large part of the $263,000. Up above on on the revenue side, I made a reference to the assessed valuation. Our assessed valuation, the revenue, local revenue, as a result of a lower assessed valuation this summer, leads to a setback of $271,000, and that is attributed mostly to appeals from the previous year that were successful. And so that impacted the assessed valuation on those properties that were appealed moving forward. So in all, our shortfall with this budget amendment is at $225,000. There's a couple of variables that we anticipate that are not yet in play. One is the transportation payments, when those are adjusted for the school year, they could still come in a little bit higher than what we anticipated. That could close the gap on the $225,000. And also, as we reported last month, we have a year-over-year enrollment increase of student enrollment. So that will increase our state payments as well. So we're not as concerned with the $225,000 deficit at this point. We're encouraged that we're off to a good start here. And this, I didn't mention when we started, but this is an action item tonight.
So, excuse me. So yes, I would look for a motion to approve the budget amendment as it's presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Do any board members have any questions or comments?
I do have a question. On our teachers moving over on the scale, with MSIP, are we still, I don't know if rewarded is the correct term, but is it still on the scorecard to have highly certified staff, right? Is that?
It's like part of our assurance checklist that we do each
Mhm.
year, but we don't necessarily get credit for it in any way.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, because we'd be in good shape.
Right, yeah, that's what I was like, this is all a good thing. We
Yeah.
want them to be
Yeah,
wonderful, yeah.
agreed.
All right. Any other questions on the amendment? All right. All in favor of approving the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Action is approved. That will take us to the need to find or name a Belcher Scholarship nominee by December 20th.
So we do have a little bit of time, and we do not have student applicants yet, but a year ago, they moved this deadline up, and so we were kind of in an urgent period at this point. So we just left it on the calendar to talk about now, to see if there were 2 or 3 school board members who wanted to volunteer to be kind of a review panel of those and maybe bring forward a recommendation either at the November meeting or at the December meeting.
All right. Anyone else volunteer? No? All right.
Thank you. And Mr. Hooper, did you find a number on health benefits? Or otherwise we can report back another time.
If you take out the $800,000, I believe that this, if you take out the $800,000 that we're doing for overages that we're estimating on that, and just go strictly with what people have, we're about just barely like 9,000 under $5 million.
That's without the 800,000 overage?
Correct, that's without the $800,000.
Is that 800,000 projected annually, or is that current year to date?
That's just what we're projecting for this year annually.
Okay.
Obviously, the 1.9 million, we hope it's not that bad, but also since we adjusted our contribution, that number in theory should be lower as it is because we're already contributing more up front and we're not having to do the extra payments because of it. So again, just strictly taking the 9,000 and some dollars it is per person, and not including that overages, we're just shy of $5 million.
Okay, thank you.
Can I make one more comment on that? I think the number by itself is helpful, and this is something we need to talk to Dr. Gooch about, but I think benchmarking would be also helpful. What are other districts our size seeing in the way of self-insured costs, just so we can kind of level set and see if.
And we have, I know the data that's provided for us, it includes all of the other members that are in our consortium, so we can, the co-op, so we can see what theirs are. And I know that Dr. Gooch has looked at that some.
Yeah, even if we could take it out a little further, I mean, they're with the same network and plans essentially. I'd be curious to see what other districts outside of the consortium are like.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on that? No? All right. That will take us to board policies. The policies that we have are, let's see, we'll, go ahead.
Sure. There's a couple different flavors here. We're bringing back our policy on instructional media center library materials policy. We've had a subcommittee of the board look at this and provide input. We've also had input from our media specialists. So we bring that back to you as a first reading tonight. And then we have a series of policies from MSBA. It's the 2024C policy updates. This is a first read on all these. And these are all stemming from changes to the law in the last probably 18 months. And all of these policies will come back for a more thorough discussion at your next workshop. Also joining them at the next workshop will be 5 policies that was a local review only from the last workshop that the board recommended some revisions. So we're working on those revisions, and we'll bring those back to the next workshop as well for a first read revised.
All right. So yeah, all of these policies, I know, excuse me, the instructional media one has been in front of us a couple different times and had some revisions, so if everybody can make sure to go through all these prior to the workshop next month, and then we'll have some good discussions over all of them. Unless anyone has anything to discuss tonight on them.
I have a couple of questions, but I'm not,
Go
we
for
can
it.
wait if that's
No.
more appropriate.
We can do it either way. We can, if you have some questions, we can look at them right now.
Just 2 questions to just toss out there, I guess. The first one is, a lot of our this is more of a general comment. A lot of our policies start with "the board believes," which makes it feel less like a policy and more like a philosophy. And I don't really like that. It's a tiny little thing, but it changes the whole tone, and I'm not sure I like that. So just thought I'd toss that out there. The specific thing to this policy, and I'll have to find it again. There's a comment here about, there it is. So it's under intellectual access. I'm sorry, it's
IIAC.
yeah, IIAC, the library policy. On the first page, intellectual access, there's a sentence here that I just don't know that I really understand. So if we can talk about it next time, but it talks about constraints resulting from artificial barriers, and I just don't know what that really means. So I want to make sure that we at least understand what that is before we move forward.
Very good.
That's all. Thank you.
All right. With that, that will take us to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Sarah?
I'm a yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Dr. Taylor? Mr. Williams? Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm glad you asked it tonight.
Yeah, I just give you time to research it. I don't know what that means.